Hi, I'm really hoping that you can see me, okay? Because I don't know if you can or not, because I can't. Ah, that's better. Okay, can you let me know if you can see me, please? Just so as I know that I'm talking to people and not to myself, as is far, far too often the case. Right, okay, I'm going to start with Ginger Fyre Press, which is our kids' press. Now, I'm hoping that some of you at least know who I am, so it says it on my name. I'm Diane Narraway. I'm the current Adhd of Clan Dolman, so you might know me from that. You may know me from doing various talks here and there, but I'm also the co-owner with Ereshkagal of Veneficia Publishing and Ginger Fyre Press. Veneficia Publishing is our adult, that sounds awful, but it's our grown-up press, okay? Ginger Fyre is for kids. Now, Ginger Fyre Press has kind of come on leaps and bounds in the last 6-7 months, and what can I say? Right, where do I begin? Well, we started off, okay, this was our first book, Folly Lane Tales. Now, this is epic. This is kind of like mid-range, so I'm not entirely sure what age group I'd put that in, but it's a complete and utter book of nonsense. Now, it's set in Folly Lane, and there's people that live celebrate Merkel, live in Crimblewood and Fairly Made and Brock 2 feet 1 sock, which is him there, and how he had to loop the loop. There's wedgehogs and all sorts of things in there. Complete and utter nonsense, okay? Right. I really need people to let me know that they can see me. Please tell me you can see me. You can. That's cool. That's Marisha. Nice one. Right. Other things we've got are these two little babies. Now, these are great. Woody and Louie. They're going to be a complete series. Okay, so they're coming out here and there. The first one, although it doesn't matter which order you read them in. Right, okay. Well, the first one, Woody and Louie and the Big Yellow Thing. Okay, by Kate Knight. Now, she's a mother of 7. Okay, so she knows what kids want to hear. And it's they're really, these are our pride boys, okay? This one's They Find a New Home. They are 2 male woodlice with 8 adopted children, one of which is a ladybird. And it's their varying adventures. This one deals with recycling. This one deals with families working together. They're really topical, really worth a look. Okay, more of those coming out in the future. Now, these 2 little babies. This one is absolutely beautiful. The Wisdom of Young Bustle. Let me show you some of the illustrations in this. Okay, it's written in verse, and it's oh god, I'm rubbish at this, can you tell? Right, and it's a book of mindfulness. Okay, and I want to show you the back cover, right? Okay, can you read that? It says, Basil is a thinker. He's not a gnome, a fairy or an elf. He is as unique as you or me. He's definitely himself. And it's a book with offerings of mindfulness for everyone. So I think this is for children sort of, you know, kind of about 6 and upwards. They can read that themselves. If they're younger, not going to hurt you. They're going to love the pictures. All the pictures in here are absolutely beautiful. I love this one. This one's one of my favourites. Can you see that? Just about. A little Basil doing taekwondo. Now, Basil is the next one to come out as a notebook. So we will have this as a notebook, and it features that lovely image on the inside, back and front covers. Okay, so the notebook that's coming out, it's got like some of the little images throughout. Here and there we have little bits and pieces. Let me show you if I can. This will be the time when you can't find what you're looking for. Of course. here. So see these little bits here? We've got bits of that in the notebook. Okay. Ah. There. 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 Okay, so somewhere. So they'll all be in the notebook, and it's a mixture of wide lines for kids to be able to write that are younger, and blank pages for drawing. So, you know, you can do your own little book of mindfulness is what it is. This one's a real pretty one, okay? This one's really nice. And this one is, all our books are absolutely gorgeous. That's what we think, that's because they are. And this one is particularly fab because it's written by a girl called Charlotte Moore, who did all the illustrations, and that is Heather Honeybee. And this deals with Heather Honeybee from her birth. Oh, that's got some fab little images that I love. Right, okay, so her in the nursery being looked after. And what's really special about this is on the next page you've got some facts about the bees, and you've got a colouring page. Okay, so on the yellow pages we have story. I don't know if you can, how well you're going to see this if I try and do it. And then on the blue pages, bee facts, and the one before that is, so just so some of the ones who want to can follow the colours that Charlotte's used. Okay, but we think it's a really pretty, nice, colourful book, and the second one of this is due out very soon, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and it is The Life of a Large Blue Butterfly, which is a similar thing. So you're going to have a story and butterfly facts and colouring pages, and you know, there's a lot to keep kids occupied. Now, we didn't stop with just young children, okay? I know. We have this. Now, this is epic. Okay? Let me show you how pretty this is. Alright? All the way through, we have Molly running along, the writer, with her ADHD being completely mad and all over. We have coloured headings, and then, I don't know if you can see this, but if I do that, the numbers at the top of the pages are coloured as well. Okay? And this is where we've, oh, we're going there. That's where we blanked out swear words. Okay? Which is only a couple in here. But this is, as you can see, for older kids. But I'm going to find my favourite picture in here, okay, because we've got colour pictures throughout this. So, and it's written, it's kind of like a self-help group book for kids with ADHD at school. She went through school herself without being diagnosed. So this is kind of some of her escapades. It's also what I found, right, because, I mean, I did the editing on this one. And reading it through, I mean, I brought up 3 kids with ADHD, and I still learned something out of this. So I thought, you know what? It's actually real good. And my granddaughter was really impressed that I knew some of these bits. And I love that. That, from bringing up kids with ADHD, is exactly how I would see them. But, you know, it was kind of cool to be able to say things back to my granddaughter who's got ADHD, and her go, how do you know? Inside information, okay guys? So, good for parents, good for teachers, good for teenagers, okay? Fab little book. And Molly herself has got her own YouTube channel, Me, Myself and ADHD, and I think she's got Molly Mayhem, Molly ADHD Mayhem or something. So check her out on Facebook on that one, and find her YouTube channel, which do you know what? I know it, okay? I know it because I put it in here. YouTube, Molly's ADHD Mayhem, okay? Facebook, Me, Myself and ADHD. So, there you go. And this is Molly. Right, Right, and to go with this, and these, when these came in, my granddaughter just said, I want one of those. So that cost me. Right. Having ADHD makes being normal look boring. Okay. This is our ADHD notebook. And throughout, okay, we have little doodles that they can colour. And teenagers love this stuff. On each page you can colour in Molly and you can draw your own pictures, write your own notes, and every so often there's another doodle. All of these doodles are, you know, kind of things that ADHD kids relate to, and they're great. God, I love these. I love this book. I think it's fab. And of course, in the front side, the front cover, we have great positive message for kids. And on the back cover, we have this. Okay, and as you can see, I'm turning it around because it's coil bound, so I can do what I like. I can flatten it, bend it, turn it backwards. This one I like. That for all of you with ADHD, focus on your strengths. Rather, hey. Okay. Then we got this one. This is for teenagers everywhere. Now, this came about because we ran a writing competition for kids, right? And the girl who won it was Mia Melusina Granger on the bottom here, and she won it with this. And because I thought it was such a great, proper like teenager sleepover round the campfire kind of horror story. Right, okay, fortunately, you know, she's not William Peter Blatty or anything, thank heavens. But you know, she does write a good teenage horror yarn, and we thought this would be good to come out as a series. So, guys, right, you ready? Got teenagers. This is going to be the next collectible thing because the second one is due out in a couple of weeks, and that is Joanna Javanak Unsolved. Okay, so, and our kids writers, like these teenagey ones, okay, they earn royalties the same as adult writers. So, yeah, a bit of pocket money for them as well. And note the price, right? How cheap is that? £2.50. Bargain. So, read it if you dare. And that's what it says in here. The High School Horror official notebook. So, High School Horror is about to be a thing. There's the Needleman from that one, okay? And there's Mia Melusina Granger's. The example, a passage out of hers and her signature, okay? And it says, the Needleman, read it if you dare. And in here we've got blank pages throughout. And then, just to let you know at the end, kids, send us your stories. So, in the Needleman and on our website, okay? So, if you've got a copy of this, it'll be in the back. Right here, okay? Okay, all about it. Alright, so that is your submission guidelines here. And tells you a bit more about it here. Okay, where to send it. So, and of course, it's all, that's our back. Right, we also have these. Okay, me, myself and ADHD silicone wristbands. I don't know how well you can see that, but I'm going to assume that Midge is going to post that up on a link in a minute so you can see them. And this one we are giving away with High School Horror products. So if you're buying the notebook or one of the High School Horror stories, get a free wristband. How cool is that? All the proceeds, well, no, not all the proceeds, but for every one of these sold, £1 of it is going to ADHD charity, okay? And so Molly's all about raising awareness, which is why we brought out these. So we've got all of these. Right, coming up on Ginger Fyre. Okay, the things we have coming out. I said we have the Bustle, the beautiful artwork of Dinks and the Wisdom of Young Basil. We have his notebook coming out, which I think will be a perfect bound, not a spiral bound. We also have the Blue Butterfly coming out by Charlotte Moore, which follows on from the Heather Honeybee one. So it will be this size. If you're buying it on Amazon or possibly Lulu or Ingram's or somewhere else, if you're buying it anywhere other than directly from us, it may not be this size. In fact, I've got a feeling on Amazon it's half that size. Okay, so we kind of would rather you bought from us, because you're going to get better quality and a better copy. Right, another thing we've got coming out from the kids side. Okay, so from Ginger Fyre, we've got a beautifully illustrated, wonderful kids book. Right, it's younger children, certainly, yeah, certainly smaller kids, and it's about a dog called Duck who has a bit of an identity crisis. So I'll save that one till it comes out, but it's well worth reading. Okay, we've also got, as I said, we've got the second high school horror, Joanna Javanick. We've also got a third one in the pipeline, and possibly one Halloween special as well. Okay, Joanna Javanick is written by Imogen Knight, who is the daughter of the Woody and Louie creator. And she, like me and Melusina Granger, they both wrote and illustrated it themselves. Now, high school horror, if you've got teenagers that are interested in writing for it, they can do it as a collaboration, but they'll be splitting the royalties. So, if they can illustrate and write it themselves, fab. If they want to do it as a comic book idea, you know, graphic art, then fine. We're good with that. We'd love to have some of that. The one after Imogen Knight coming out is by a young lady called Lily Borton. So that will be coming out later in the year. We've also got from Kate Knight, who wrote Woody and Louie. She's also written a children's novel called Fiona and the Champions of Everley, which is aged 7 to 13. Right, okay, moving on to Veneficia side. Right, okay, over this side we have, right, these are our novels, stories. This one's fab. We put it in for the booker. It's that fab. Okay, it's really, really good. Well worth a read. Set on Portland, which is really close to me at the window. And it deals with some of the island's beliefs, quirkier superstitions. It has a bit of magic. It's a total thriller. Total thriller. It's fabulously written from the point of view of 4 different people. And it's I don't know, I can't really describe this. It's just fab. Okay, so I'm going to read the back blurb because that probably says it better than I will. Jack Powers is at a loose end in his life when he comes across an advert requesting assistance with an anthology of the fables, myths and stories relating to the history of a small isle in the West Country. That's Portland. Part of the deal is that he lives in one of 4 terrace houses which front the sea, but are subject to subsidence and frequent power cuts. The dynamic between Jack and his enigmatic neighbours sets into play a series of events which soon spiral out of control. Jack finds himself becoming entangled in a web of stories which lead him into a closed world of intrigue, desire, crime and mystery. Reaching a breathtaking climax, it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish myth from reality. So there you go. Right, these two. These two are just beautiful. Look, how beautiful are they? And inside these, okay, Each chapter is centered around a plant of some description. So, you know, we have Dr. Thrift's second story and the Lesser Celandine. So you know that's going to be featured in it. Okay, it's really clever, really pretty. These are just really lovely little kind of fantasy tales. There's the Chesil Apothecary, which is set on Chesil Beach, and the Herbarium, okay, which is, this one's on cream paper with the same beautiful illustrations, and this is set around the plants you'd find in a wood, etc. by Kathy Sharp. She wrote them and she illustrated them. Inside the Seventh Wave, written by Gary Hawker, or as he writes, G.W. Hawker. We have some poetry for you, okay? We have Martin Pallett's. Now, right, we have two from Martin Pallett, okay? So, basically, this one is around the corner of my eye. This one has pretty pics in it, okay? The Goddess Spring. So each of the seasons are dealt with in here, and each of them has their own image. Let me just like that one. And then we come to winter. Okay, right at the front there is acknowledgements and a dedication by Martin, but there is also a foreword written by June Kent, the editor of Indie Shaman magazine. Now, what's kind of special about this book is we had it, he'd sent it to us, and I'd put it together just before he died, and so it kind of was published after his death. Now, we got in touch with, and all of the royalties from this book go to Battersea Cats and Dogs Home. Likewise, this one, okay? If it's written by Martin Pallett, they're the two we've got. The royalties go to Battersea Cats and Dogs Home. So if you buy them, not only do you get really wonderful poetry, really pretty books, because while this one is chaptered into seasons, this one is not. But this one is black and white throughout, but it has some really gorgeous illustrations on every page with small, short poems, okay? So it really is a little book of poetry. Pocket size. Both of them have in the back, right, a little space for your inspiration and a few pages left blank. You know, so if you're out in the woods with this in your pocket and you get a bit inspired to write a few lines, there you go. Have it to hand. Right. Bit more serious poetry, this one. Fabulous, right? This has undergone a new look, so it's all pretty inside too. Oh, nice and sorted. Now this is by Sam R. Geraghty. And oh, you have to just like see Sam, okay? You have to go and hear Sam talk, because Sam is fabulous, right? This is a poetical journey which narrates the path of the double-edged nature of all inquiry and spiritual pathhood. It incorporates the musings, meditations, doubts, insights, odes and adorations of the poet through the valleys of life, death and rebirth, presented in 5 themes. The work resembles a compression of time and place, allowing the reader to experience the anecdotal within the context of the universal. It's just beautiful. Do you know, I'm going to, right, in a minute, read a poem from each of these, because they're all fab, alright? Even this one, okay? Now this one's written by some dodgy woman, right, that you might have come across. And this is like just my blurbs. Little. Okay, it's a little book of witchiness from my poetic cauldron. Some are funny. See, quite funny. Some are sexy, a bit. And some are slightly profound. But all are intended to nourish your spirit or entertain you in some way. A lady from my tarot group, right, bought this and she said she thought it was really empowering. So I'm really chuffed with that. So I'm going to read you a bit out of each of them. So I will start with Whispers in the Wood by Martin Pallett. Because here's a kind of like just really, really short and little. Winter Dawn. Blanched in bleakness, their shapings warped by rack of foot in icy earth. Winter trees wait achingly for warmer days, creaking complaint against the chill of slinking mist. Really atmospheric. And out of here, I think, what do we like in here? Hair. Old brown lop-eared one, spring is shaped within your form and March wind madness. Stubble stack Jack, carrying full moon, lunacy in the gleam of your eye. Getting punch drunk on summer's promise. You run around the flat fat fields, a whirling dervish, delivering dreams. I think Martin's poetry is beautiful. Sam's is so beautiful in a different way. So I am going to read. Let's have a look. Night. Knight. You, mirror in the vault, clown at the grail. Nursling monster just begun, raw beast, who shuns at every stage the march of the light. Like some calamity, dancing destitute the chime. Twisted root, rotten trunk, a branch of the dead, he said. Now hold out your hand and receive me. I am your degenerate, my ashen face eternal, atrocious as death in your heart, my lag in the cadaver of the moment. You bleed in your flesh sack, then die again. To bury the poxy nag of the fallen self, stunted, shining, to revel, noxious as the ray, sullied as the waning moon, waiting on the glory of the night turned day. And I am hoping that I can see what comments are coming up here. Right, any preferences? Do we want funny, sexy or profound? I'm going to wait for you to tell me, okay? So I want funny, sexy or profound. You let me know. Meanwhile, I am going to tell you about these, okay? This is our Divine Dark Feminine series. Now, the point of these is they are each written by people who work devotionally with aspects of the darker feminine goddesses or darker feminine self. Energies, gods, whatever. But they are feminine, that's the point. Okay? This one, Sedna Loving the Unloved by Fyre Words. Absolutely a stunner. Okay? Funny, okay, Rich, funny it'll be. Right, Sedna Loving the Unloved is a truly heartfelt spiritual journey that would melt the coldest heart. Both beautifully written and genuinely compassionate, this book explores the comparisons between the author and her goddess. It provides a unique and heartfelt insight into what it means to be on a devotional path. Right. And how pretty is that? and it's being repackaged and coming out even prettier. So watch out for this one in its new form. Ereshkagal, The Dark Side of Venus by Scott Irving. Okay, so the Divine Dark Feminine series is intended as a subjective look at those individuals who work devotionally with a particular feminine deity, entity, energy or archetype. Okay, so in this book Scott shares his journey with the goddess of death, Ereshkagal. It's an open, honest and at times raw look at what it means to work with the goddess Ereshkagal. In this book Scott shares her mythology and her sorrows as well as some of his own. Beautiful journey which is both informative and emotive. As is Fees, as is this one. Now, this one kind of I thought was really fascinating. You may recognise the writer here, Veronica Rivas. She's a lovely, lovely person and practices Kimbanda, okay, which is a Brazilian offshoot of voodoo. Maria Padilla is unique in as much as she did not begin her journey as a goddess. She began as a queen and a wife. So she actually started out, this lady, as a historical queen of Portugal. Okay, and her origins can be found in history books. And Veronica Rivas takes us on a fascinating journey as she shares this woman's history as well as her place within the magical hierarchy. Veronica shares with us her enthusiasm and her love for this once queen. Maria Padilla is professionally researched and beautifully written. But then, it's written by Veronica Rivas, so we expect nothing less, right? And let me show you inside of these, because these are all... Can you see that one? Yeah? And this has a sneaky rose tucked inside. Okay, and Maria Padilla on the back. So absolutely gorgeous. Right, funny it is then, Marisha. Funny it is. Right, let's see what we've got that's funny that doesn't take too long to read. Oh, okay. I guess it's got to be this one, hasn't it? Dear Councillor Johnson, I wish to complain about those two witches from next door again. I called in my dog just the other night when I was confronted by a terrible sight. Stood over a cauldron with pointy black hats, chanting and dancing with their familiar black cats. And quite honestly, Councillor, all this bell book and candle is rather too much for us decent folk to handle. Our nice quiet estate has gone to the dogs, and we now live in fear of being turned into frogs, and they may eat our children, or seduce our men. And tell me, Councillor Johnson, what will happen then? Please don't think I'm prejudiced or out to cause grief, but if you could house them elsewhere, it would be a relief. Dear Mrs. Longbottom, I understand your concern, but it's quite clear to me you have a lot to learn. Your families are safe and these women aren't bad, and your lack of knowledge is really quite sad. It's another belief. I can't condemn them for that, nor can I rehouse them for owning a cat. And would you be writing a letter if they were Hindu, Jewish, Muslim or Mormon, Catholic or Amish? So let me reiterate, your kids will not end up in the oven. I know this for sure, as I'm part of their coven. So there you go. Bit of neighbourhood witch there. Right. And talking of witches, Veneficia is not complete without this. Okay. This, if you haven't read it, we really think you should. Because you should. Okay? Now, oh, what can I tell you about this? This is gorgeous, alright? Right from the offset, we had one of the most beautiful curses ever written, with good reason. And look at the imagery in here. Okay, the concept behind this book, right? A group of us, so it's written by several people, not just me. each story has its own picture with it, okay? It's centered around the witch trials. Factual witch trials, real witches, real trials, real outcomes. So everybody had to use whatever history they knew they had, right? Whatever they could find, they had to use it, and they had to weave any bits of story in around that. So this is, I guess you could say it's like a docudrama of the witch trials. Okay, so this brings them to life in a way that's previously not happened. Okay, we can watch them on telly, we can watch the Inquisition, we know full well that they suffered. We know that it was harsh times, but this brings it all to life. So majority of stories in here are written by practicing witches. Okay, and in the front, which I think is a really lovely touch, we have little statements from, you know, Talit Jameson saying witches are the evolution of a sacred breed, persecuted in pure ignorance by the unevolved. We have another little comment from Merlin from Children of Artemis, bringing to life the suffering of those witches and innocent people over the century reminds the current generation of witches how much freedom we now have, how far we have now come, and how grateful they should be to those who went before. Now, this was the point, okay? We've got loads of names in here you'll recognise. Jonathan Argento from Lyceum Witchcraft, Moira Hodgkinson, who writes for Phoenix Flames, Dr. Melissa Harrington from Pagan Seminary. Sorry, Melissa. Dane the Bard, you're going to recognise him. Christina Oakley Harrington from Treadwells. Me, Julian Vane, Rachel Patterson, Veronica Reivers, and of course Professor Ronald Hutton. And the last word in the front goes to King James, saying, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," because without him we would not be writing this book. But no, more seriously, it is absolutely beautiful. Like I said, each one of the stories has their own image, but can you see on the corner of all the pages this phoenix? Because the idea was that we were going to bring them to life and we were going to resurrect them in a way not previously achieved, and I think we did this. Now, there you go, one of the black and white images, and let's see if I can find, there's some really gorgeous colour ones, and there is one or two. This one, stories written by Esme Knight, deals with the flowers of Bottlesford, Joan, Margaret and Philippa Flower. Okay, and they're from Nottingham Way, same as Esme. Some you'd recognise, some you won't. Gawain Anderson, written by Tarn Nemerensis. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful artwork. So a lot of the imagery in here is absolutely stunning. Of course, it's not complete without this bugger, is it? And that's Elizabeth Clark, and her story is written by Issy Ballard, who's 18. So, you know, she touched every generation. The hair, shape-shifting hair of Isabel Gowdy. Now, some of them you'll recognise, some of them are really obvious, some of them you won't. Madalena Lazari, chances are you won't recognise, but she was real and she suffered. Temperance Lloyd, of course, you'd recognise, I assume. Tituba, Giles Corey, Janet Horn. All of it, total, we loved writing it. It was an absolute labour of love. So like I said, and the shocking part for me was writing, you know, sort of going back and researching it and discovering that actually the first one in this book that is written about, because we couldn't possibly write about all of them unfortunately, So the first one we've got in here is a lady in ancient Greece from 300 BCE. And the last one, even more shockingly, Amahema in Africa from 2010. Horrible, horrible. So we know it still goes on, and that, of course, is mentioned in here. So, you know, if you want to treat yourself to a bit of, you know, feet up in the garden when it is sunny reading, can't do much better than this. Right, and, okay, last word goes to, this has some, equally has some pretty images in. Now, 22 Opus Arcana, right, Tales of the Tarot. We are repackaging it, and it's coming out in a new format. Same pictures, same stories, just slightly different format, okay? Because we underwent some admin changes, and with it we updated some of our books and ISBNs, etc. So this one's going through a bit of an overhaul at the minute. So this particular version we still have a few of, so we're selling this cheaper. As I suspect you can see down the side here, Marisha's very kindly put that there is 10% off until Monday at midnight using the code FF21 on our website. Okay, and also for those of you out there who are involved with schools or Brownies, Cubs, Guides, or some other club that deals with children, our books can be purchased directly through the websites using the appropriate links. Likewise, wholesalers. So if you're running a shop, looking to stock them on your market stalls or in your shops, whatever, we do a wholesale price. We also do a special discounted, slightly less than wholesale price for schools and clubs, because we know they've got no money. Okay, so that's cool. Just make sure you use the appropriate link to sign in. Okay, well, I think, and oh, hang on, tell you what we've got coming up on Veneficia before I go. Right, there is another one, the third one in the series of these from Kathy Sharp is Dropwood Hall. Look out for that. So I have got no doubt whatsoever that when they all come out together, there will be a discount package for all three. We have another book coming out that's absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait for it to come out, but it's going to be a few months yet. Is The Listener by Francis Guardiano, and that is kind of interesting and really lovely story. A lot of magic in that story. We have another dark feminine coming out very soon, which is Nephthys, the Egyptian goddess. We also have a novel by Scott Irving, who wrote Ereshkagal. He's bringing out a novel called The King's Odyssey. And this year's anthology, so the Tarot was 2019, the Witch Trials was 2020, I think, so 2021. So this year's is about making a pact with a demon, devil, god, goddess, witch, whatever you make a pact with, don't care. It's about people making a pact, and then there's a twist in each of the stories. So either the person in charge of it comes off well because there was a loophole the poor mortal didn't see, or the demony whatever comes off badly because the mortal found the loophole. So there'll be a twist somewhere in all of the stories, okay? So look out for that. We also have a bit of a working with book that is coming out from a girl called Ria, and she works with the shadow side and moon magic, and there's a bit of a sort of smallish book coming out on that. So I think that's about where we are. Wow, that took a while. So if anybody's got any questions, please post them underneath. I'm hoping that I've covered everything. I'm not sure that I've covered everything well, but The same code applies to... Does it apply to both our websites, Midge? Let everybody know. I got a feeling it does. So there is the same discount on both Veneficia and Fyre Press. So come and check us out. And we have 2 book events coming up soon. She's absolutely right, we do. Okay, we have one, I think, next Saturday. Is that right, Midge? Because my brain's starting to hurt now. We have one coming up next Saturday, which I think is Fyre Press, and we're hoping to have some of the authors on there talking about their books, their art, you know, and what it's like. What it's like writing. Yes, it is same codes for both websites. Thank you. And then we have one later on in August, I do believe, for Veneficia, which will be the same thing. We'll get some of the writers over talking about their books, and you know, those that have written for the anthologies as well, because they're a whole different thing. Writing short fiction stories is very different to writing a novel. And if you're wondering what I'm up to in my spare time, as if, right, I'm trying to put together a book on the Crow, which is man's spiritual journey all the way through. Okay, so almost from cavemen, all the myths and legends, a whole lot of different things centered around the Crow. Okay, so from the very ancient to the very contemporary. And I'm also trying to write a novel, so see how that pans out. Okay, which is set on the island. So it's already going to be out as a short story. I'm going to bring it out as a novel, maybe. So if I actually get any time off, I'm not looking hopeful. So, but yeah, that's what I'm up to. And Marisha, as you can see, is up to writing comments. 25th of July for Veneficia, okay. So both online book fairs. 24th of July is Fyre, 25th of July is Veneficia. There you go. So my mistake. And in October we are hoping that we will have a physical Veneficia day, which will include speakers. It is open to the public for nothing, but we're hoping that we've got speakers coming in. Like I said, all our events, like physical events, not online, but our physical Veneficia event is open to those who self-publish, other publishers, and artists. So what we're hoping to do on that is to have an art display from all, you know, adult illustrators of varying sorts. Some of the illustrators are also writers, so they'll be there signing their books and stuff. You can come in, you can buy books from whoever. We're opening it up to whoever wants to sell books at our event. We obviously will, but you know, if other publishers want to come in and have a stall, pitches are £20 each, that's all, and it takes place in Weymouth down at the Centenary Club, and Marisha's just put a link to it. So if you're a writer, an illustrator, you've self-published, you are a publisher, etc., then check us out for that, because we figure there's enough room in the world for everyone, you know, because there is. Right, so I'm going to get out of here. If you want to ask any questions, do it at the bottom and I'll answer you later, but I'm going to get out of the way for somebody else. Okay, so fab, brilliant talking to everybody. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.